Hi and welcome to Watch the Time and my end of 2019 state of the collection. So it's December 2019. I don't envisage any changes to the collection as it stands. I've got a bunch of watches that I'm selling at the moment, so I've taken them out of the collection. So this is the collection as it stands, plus the watch that I'm wearing at the moment, which is the original SKX on the Jubilee. Now, I'll start off with this watch because it's not being made anymore. It's gone. The new version I think is a bit dressier. It's not a proper tooly dive watch. I've done videos on it. It's a nice enough watch, but it's not an SKX. I bought three versions of the SKX: the 007, the 013 and the 009. I've sold the 013 and the 009, and I've just kept this, which is I think the quintessential SKX 007. And it is going to stay in my collection now, and it is now currently the only watch that I've got on a bracelet. Previous to that it was the Orient, but that's actually up for sale at the moment. Looking back at state of the collection videos, the interesting point to note is that not a single watch here was in the original video, and I don't have a problem with that. It's, the way your collection evolves is entirely up to you. If I decide tomorrow to sell all of these watches and just buy one watch, then that's fine, but I'm kind of getting the collection how I want it, but I'm having to be really strict with what I'm selling. I mean, at the moment I'm selling the Citizen Fugu ProMaster Diver, a limited edition blue dial, gorgeous watch, but I don't wear it, and it doesn't speak to me enough in that it makes me want to keep it. And also another reason for selling the Citizen is that it's a blue dial watch, which I now haven't got, but I am planning to get another blue dial watch in the new year, and that will be the Oris Aquis. That's possibly going to be my next purchase for my collection. I will buy and sell other watches for a review. I'll start off down here. This was my first ever Casio. This was a rebuy, but it's the same era. It's in very similar condition to mine. It's well beaten up, still works perfectly. And I recently did a video basically finding the new modern version of this watch, and I did, and I found it for a really good price as well. For less than 20 quid you can get a watch with a dual time GMT function, stopwatch timers, alarms, light, water resistance to 100 meters, the whole lot, for a very small amount of money. And there's nothing to say this could be my only watch. It does everything really that I need in a watch, and there's no reason to have anything else. It's deadly accurate. It's you change the battery once every 10 years, and that's it. It's a fantastic little watch. But I'm a watch collector now, so I just make up excuses as to why I want other watches. I've had a number of G-Shocks, and I've kind of settled on this one, and it's the Bluetooth solar stealthy. I mean, sometimes there, look, we get it in the light, you can't even see the numbers on it, but it's a fantastic G-Shock. And again, this could easily be a contender for your only watch. If I only had to wear this, then I would be fairly happy with that. It sits beautifully on the wrist. It's got this nice sort of composite bracelet. Absolutely fantastic. It's solar, so you don't have to worry about batteries or anything like that. It never seems to run out of charge, even though it doesn't get an awful lot of sunlight. It's atomic sync, so it's deadly accurate. It's a great watch to use to set your other watches and stuff like that. Just a great beta watch, and again, a great everyday watch, which would, again, if I had to only have one watch and this was it, I'd be more than happy with it. Next we have the Laco Akon, and this is an interesting watch in that it's what could be an expensive watch, and I think, like, if you buy this with a kind of a Swiss movement, you're looking at thousands of pounds. Laco do this with a fairly affordable Miyota movement, and it becomes hundreds of pounds. So a couple of hundred quid gets you a really nice watch. Fantastic loom on this. Again, there's I've done a review on it, and you can see that in my sort of collection of videos. But a great watch, not one that I wear an awful lot, but there are times if I'm into something, I'm into my model flying, so if I'm doing something aviation themed, then that's the watch I wear. Especially if I'm going to like an air show or something like that, I wear that. Another fairly recent acquisition is the little Seagull 1963. Delightful little watch this. The way it plays with the light, with the champagne dial and the gold Arabics and the blue hands. It's a functional little watch. It's deadly accurate, this one. It runs within a couple of seconds a day. Really happy with it. Got a great chronograph function. It's a mechanical chronograph. Again, you can see the review on this. It's got that lovely Chinese version of the Venus movement in the back, where you can see it all happening. You know, it's a proper mechanical fly black chronograph. It wears great on the wrist. It's one of my smaller watches. I've got a couple of smaller watches now. Really enjoy wearing this, and it always grabs attention, this watch. I'd say out of all of my watches, this one has probably got the most comments about, you know, what is it and, you know, where's it from. It's got a lovely piece of acrylic crystal on there, which you can get a sapphire version, but you can't beat, I don't think, the sort of the genuine acrylic-y version. It's just more true to the original, shall we say. But absolutely love this little watch. Definitely one to stay in the collection. So next up is the Dan Henry. This was my first Microbrand purchase. Did quite a lot of research into this watch. I'm pleased I've got it. It's near enough doubled in value. I'm not sure how that's going to go now. He's re-released it in different colourways, but I think this being the original and the most popular colour and size, this is the 40mm one. I think this will still hold its value well. And people who say, like, you lose money on Microbrands, that is true to a certain degree, but it depends on which ones you buy and which watch you buy. This watch has probably doubled in value. That one has you probably get 3/4 back of what you paid, but they're both Dan Henry watches. It just depends on the watch, but a great watch. I like the pop of colour. It's a nice summery watch when you're wearing something bright. Again, it's got a functional internal rotating bezel, so it's useful for timing. Nice and accurate. All my watches are accurate. I really like it. I've wobbled on it a couple of times when I see the price going up to double what I paid for it, but I've decided to keep it and just sit on it now for you know, as long as I can, really. I love the crowns on this, the cross hatching on the crowns. Look at that. If you want something to mess around with, and I've sort of distressed the case on this, and I've taken this apart completely. The Vostok Amphibia, cheap as chips, but a great little watch, really quirky. Got loads of quirks like the non-ratcheting bezel. The crown is weird on it, the way it flops about and the way you have to wind it, and the date change is weird. Everything about it is kind of weird. Again, it's got another acrylic crystal on it. I love acrylic crystals. I don't care if they get scratched up. And again, you know, I distressed the case and, you know, had a bit of a go at it. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, but ultimately probably the least accurate watch in my collection, running at over, I think it's about plus 8 seconds a day, but you know, not bad considering, and a really interesting little watch. Really like this, really comfortable on wrist, really slim, and you know, for the money, there's no reason not to get one. Even if you get one, experience it and sell it on. You know, you're not losing a lot of money. These are less than 100 quid, and you can really have some fun with them. This little Citizen ProMaster diver was a little find in a local store. I was out working one day and I just saw it in the shop window, bought it. It's well scratched up, it's well beaten up. It's obviously got a lot of history to it. It's been well worn, it's been used, it's been abused, but it runs a treat. It runs within about 4 seconds a day. It's got a fantastic loom, it's got a useful bezel, it's really comfortable, it's a great design. It's what prompted me to buy the Fugu limited edition, but in the end there was no point keeping both, and obviously the Fugu is the one that's going to free up the most amount of money, and this is a watch that I don't think I'll ever sell. There's something about it that I just fell in love with it when I first bought it, and I got it for a decent price. It cost me 100 quid, but you know, the fun and the joy it gives me. I mean, the second hand's all bent up on it and it's been messed about with, but I say it runs a treat, and I just absolutely love this watch. It's really comfortable, wears beautifully on this elastic sort of NATO military style strap. A great little watch, really pleased with that. So in terms of money, this is the head of my collection, the Zin 104. Absolutely love this watch. It's a pilot style watch, but it's got 200 meters of water resistant. It's got a really useful countdown timing bezel. It's so legible, it's unbelievable. When you tell the time on this, you don't say it's about 11, you say it's 4 minutes and 25 seconds past 11. You know, it's got the day date complication. It's made in Germany. It's got a Swiss-made Salita movement that's been heavily worked. You know, it's got shock resistance, demagnetized. It's a fantastic watch. It runs within a second a day, so it's within COSC certification as well, although it's not. Absolutely stunning watch. Again, this could be another watch which could be your only watch that you own. And again, if I had to have one watch and this was it, I'd be more than happy with that. Absolutely love it. The lume is fantastic. It lasts all night. There's just nothing not to like about this watch. So that's the Zin 104. It's the most expensive watch in my collection, and I absolutely love it. Definitely not going anywhere. On to the Veja. This is my first ever Kickstarter watch. So I backed the Kickstarter campaign as soon as it went live. I bought this is called the Heritage model. But I went for the no date version because I just love the symmetry of it, and also I've gone for the version with just the more affordable Miyota movement rather than a Swiss movement. As you can see, this was assembled in America. It's on a nice leather Horween strap. Absolutely love this watch. It far exceeded my expectation. It's cost me, including the bill that I've got from FedEx, it's cost me about $360 or thereabouts, $380, something like that. But I think it's a really good value watch. It runs within 2 seconds a day. It's super legible. It's just a beautiful looking watch. You've got a sapphire sandwich on it, all brushed, beautiful shaped case. It wears lovely, and it's got that nice pop of colour with the red second hand. And I just absolutely love this. I struggled to get this off my wrist actually. Next up we have the Seiko Arnie. The re-release. I love the watch. There is a bit of an issue with regards to the LCD screen failing after a few years. I'm not happy that a company is basically saying this watch is going to fail after a certain amount of time and you're going to need to replace the LCD screen. I can imagine in 7 years time that is not going to be an easy thing to do. And for a watch that's 400 quid, you know, if I've had a watch for 7 years and it cost me 400 quid, you know, especially a watch like this, you might expect to get double your money back. Or your money back or half your money back, but if it doesn't work you're not going to get any of your money back. So the LCD screen is an issue for me, but I love the watch, I love the design. It's a robust, it's like a weekend watch when you're doing stuff. You know, it's 200 meters water resistant, it's an ISO certified diver. Absolutely love it. It's solar, so you don't have to ever worry about it. Yes, it's a quartz, so you can see the tick there, but it doesn't bother me. It's a great grab and go watch. You've got a timer, you've got alarms, you've got day date, you've got dual times. Again, it's almost like the Seiko equivalent of the Casio G-Shock, but you know, absolutely fantastic watch. Next up we have the Dan Henry 1963. My partner bought me this. She was born in 1963. I absolutely love this watch. This is my dress watch. It dresses up really nicely and goes well with like just a white shirt and a suit. You know, I think a chronograph always works well as a dress watch, and this one particularly does. Those dials, sometimes they look silver, sometimes they look champagne. You've got the sandwich dial, the vintage style lume, you've got a GMT bezel. You know, it's a functioning chronograph. You've got no date or anything, but so we just start the chronograph going there, and you know, it's a nice action to it, and the way it sweeps round is quite funky as well, as opposed to a snapback. Had an interesting crystal on this. It's a mineral crystal with a sapphire sort of layer over the top, and you can see there it's obviously got AR coating, but you know, I've not had any problems with it delaminating or anything like that, and I've had it for quite some time now, about a year now, so I don't see any problem. The strap's wearing really nicely, it's really comfortable, really like that as a dress watch. This is an interesting little watch. This is actually a mil-spec, a military issued watch, which would have been issued to the British military. One of the things I like about this is how thin it is. Obviously it's a quartz, but it's got great lume. It's super thin, and this is a watch you wear and you don't know you're wearing it. It's so thin. If you're working on something, like if I'm working on my motorbike or cleaning the motorbike or just doing jobs where you're putting your hands in awkward places, this is a great watch because it's so thin and it just hugs the wrist beautifully. It's got no spring bars, there's solid bars on there, so you can only put it on a NATO strap, but it wears beautifully on a NATO, and on this sort of olive green NATO I think it just looks perfect. Works really well. You know, it's a classic field watch. It's a tiny little watch compared to, you know, some of the modern watches, and especially if you compare it to the Bayer, even though it's a similar watch, it's, you know, it's much smaller, about 36 millimeters as opposed to 40. But you know, it wears fantastic, and it's an interesting piece and keeps really good time being a quartz. Now, I recently sold quite a lot of Seikos because I had too many. I've still got 3. I've got my SKX, the Arnie, and I've got this. I always wanted. It was actually the SKX with the Pepsi bezel, the 009, but I actually prefer this, and that's why I sold the 009, because I've got the Pepsi bezel, but this wears better. It's got a better movement in. It's got hacking hand winding. It's got probably the best lume out of all of my watches. It's got the great wavy dial, being as this is the Paddy special edition. It's a diver certified watch. I do like my watches that are diver certified. I've got the ProMaster diver, the Arnie, this, the SKX, all certified dive watches, and I do like that. I like the little date window on this with the thing, because it's actually a date I can see, so that's useful, whereas the one on the Pulsar I can barely see it. This one I can actually see it with the little magnifier, so I quite like that. Again, I love the wavy dial. It reminds me of an old vintage wetsuit, and I love the Pepsi bezel on this. Got it on just a really nice blue and black NATO strap. Wears really well, really comfortable. The Mini Turtle, I think, doesn't get as much love as it should, but I think it's one of the nearest replacements for the SKX. So as I said, I'm completely happy with my collection. I just wanted to quickly show you this. This is coming from the person that says, I don't like NATOs particularly. This is my strap case. Bearing in mind that every single one of my watches has got a strap or a NATO on it. These are all my spare straps. A lot of these are original, like off the watches, but they're just my spare NATOs in there. So be warned, when you start going down the road of NATOs, it can become a bit addictive, and that's not, you know, including the bunch I've got here, which I'm currently getting ready to sell. So moving forward to next year, as I say, the next watch on my list is probably going to be the Oris Aquis. I'm going to save up for it. I'm selling a few watches at the moment, but I'm also buying a Mavic Mini, so I've got that to sort of buy first. Then it's going to be the Oris Aquis, plus I will be buying watches in the meantime. I've done alright buying and selling my watches. I've not really lost any money. I think if anything I've come out ahead. Because of the watches I buy, I tend to do okay. Some of the watches you don't do okay on are things like cheap Casios. You never get your money back on those. Cheap Timex watches, you don't get your money back on those generally. You usually lose a little bit. If you buy limited edition, you tend to be okay. And if you buy nice watches like nice Seikos, nice Citizens, you tend to be okay. The G-Shocks, you know, you get your money back on those. But I've done quite well on a lot of my watches. Things like you'll notice that's missing from the collection is the Seiko Monster. You know, I absolutely loved that watch, but I decided it was just a bit too top heavy when I was wearing it, and so I didn't wear it often, and when I did, it wasn't the most comfortable watch in the world, and I just decided if I'm feeling like that about a watch, I should sell it. And even though I loved that watch, I sold it, but I made good money on it. And I'm really trying to sort of keep my collection. My collection goes from 12 watches, or 14 watches you see here, to up to sort of 20, 22, and then I sort of have a good purge and sell. You know, so I'm not adverse to making tough decisions and selling watches that I absolutely love, because if I'm not wearing them, they have to go. But that's where we are at the moment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your subscriptions this year. And I'm just going to keep the videos coming. Still got one video to do on my experience with Phoebus, which wasn't very good. That'll be coming up soon. But for now, happy Christmas, happy New Year. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the new year. Cheers, bye.